I was taught in medical school that vaccines are safe and they're effective. I had no reason to believe otherwise. It wasn't until the New York State passing of the hepatitis B mandate in 1991. It struck me as kind of odd that they were mandating a vaccine for newborn babies when babies were not at risk for developing hepatitis B infection. It made me question whether or not we're doing a service to children by giving them all these vaccines and injections. There's more than just an assumption that vaccines are safe. It is pretty much regarded as law. But I don't think it's that black and white. There are many grays. And you have more and more people who are questioning it, and with good reason, because the science is not there to really state that vaccines are truly safe.
Show them the thimerosal bottle, which we keep in a metal container because we're a little afraid of it, and it's a very fine powder.
This is thimerosal, which is labeled very toxic. Has cumulative effects, can cause damage to the kidneys, to the respiratory system, skin, to the nervous system. It specifically warns on here that it can cause reproductive and developmental toxicity, meaning that it can cause things like autism and other neurodevelopmental disorders. This is immensely toxic stuff.
And it's in vaccine.
And this is what's in the vaccine. It's important to realize we're talking about a whole range of products. Vaccines are a big one because, of course, you're directly injecting it. For example, this is tetanus vaccine. This one expires, it's a little outdated now, in 2007. Here's the thimerosal. 1 to 10,000 is a preservative. Perhaps the biggest one in the U.S., at least, that's for exposure to mercury is the influenza vaccine. Influenza vaccine is now recommended for all pregnant women, all infants, all children on a yearly basis. You're supposed to
have last year's influenza? Understand that thimerosal is not added at the end. It's not like, well, that factory next year can make thimerosal free. Thimerosal, you either have to have a thimerosal free factory or you have to not have one. They add thimerosal at each step because the factory is not clean and not sterile. So you either have to have an expensive sterile factory where you don't need thimerosal, or you have to have one that produces thimerosal. It's going to need thimerosal or something the whole time. It needs to be stopped.
This is the influenza vaccine from Adventist Pasteur, their flu zone. Thimerosal, 25 micrograms of mercury per dose.
But I'd like to point out that a lot of people didn't know, and I'm one of them. I've given 2,000 RhoGAM shots. I've been in vaccines for 35 years. I didn't know that RhoGAM had thimerosal in it. So I think a lot of the doctors were unaware. They were unaware that even the word thimerosal meant mercury.
Yeah.
If we talk about the children who have learning disabilities, who weren't born that way, but who have learning disabilities. If we talk about the children who develop ADD, attention deficit disorder. If we talk about the children who have PDD, the pervasive developmental disorder, Asperger's, every kind of disease process that you can talk about that has this neurologic learning problem. When we add those children into the mix, and I believe firmly that they should be added, that they are all on one spectrum and it's one process. You're talking about one child in every 6. And those numbers were not like that. You will talk to teacher after teacher who's been in this business of teaching children for 30 years, and they will all tell you, it wasn't like that when I started teaching. It's like that now. And something has changed. And they laugh, the teachers laugh, when a physician says, oh, it's just better diagnosis. They were all there before. I can promise you that if you had had this many children walking through grocery stores, having full-on meltdown temper tantrums, 30 years ago, it would have been diagnosed as autism.